All right, guys, here we are for another special review, joined with a guest. We're going to be talking about 2012's Battery. Our guest, Ian, a friend of the show, Bad Movie Night co-host. Ian, tell them what you're up to, who you are, where they can find you.
You just did it.
I know, I did a really weird intro.
Bad Movie Night. Check out our audio podcast. You usually more likely find me in the video section over on YouTube. Chris and I do some reviews of current movies typically. Or I guess we do. I'm on the bonus episodes on the podcast feed where we do
Crite Night
show hour. Nobody watches Crite Night.
I live for Crite Night.
Yeah,
you two, Justin and Mike, are the four people that regularly watch Crite Night.
I bring up Crite Night all the time in conversation as it is the most brilliant concept for a show. I'm not even going to blow it for the people now. Go check out Crite Night on the Bad Movie Night page and enjoy. But today we're talking about the movie The Battery. So Ian, you brought this to our attention. I had not heard about this at all. So what made you want to watch this one?
Well, this is one that's been on the back burner for me for a while. I have a short list of movies that I've been meaning to watch for years and years that I just, for whatever fucking reason, never get to. What am I kidding? The reason is I'm always watching something for Bad Movie Night. So I'm always watching, whatever it is we're planning on covering for that. So I don't know. This is one think I first heard about from friend of our show, Kyle Clark. He talked about it a little bit on his podcast, This Is Rad, and I've been meaning to check it out ever since. And it's come up a couple times since, and I'm like, man, I need to get to that. And you said, hey, Ian, what movie you want to watch? I'm like, I'm going to finally, knock one of these movies off this short list. Let's get her down.
Okay. So you had not seen it prior to this. You were like, now's my excuse. We're going to watch it.
I'm a big zombie guy. Love zombie films. Love the range.
Who doesn't?
Love the range that they can, that they can have. I like the big budget ones. I like the small budget ones. There's so much room for different types of storytelling. I thought this was going to be more baseball, if I'm being honest, based on the description I heard of it on a podcast 4 years ago or whenever the hell it was.
By the way, here's the description just really quick. A catcher and a pitcher try to make the most of a hopelessly horny apocalypse. Yeah. That's not. No. I made that up. I'm joking.
I was like, I'm looking at the description. What the hell is he reading?
You must be on a different website than me. Yes.
Yeah, given that the title is a baseball term, and I knew it was described in the podcast I heard about it as, it sounded like it had more to do with baseball, which is fine. I'm not a baseball guy.
What is the battery when it comes to baseball?
Battery is the catcher and the pitcher.
Yeah.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah,
they're the battery
because they have to have a tight knit.
I don't know baseball. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'm not a big baseball fan myself, but I have heard that term before.
As have I. So like Lee, who's like, baseball is a sport. They use that bat you've seen and the glove to catch that ball. And
I would be in gym class. I would be in gym class like, why are they not telling us how to play these games? I don't know how to play football. They're just running the other way. What the fuck's going on? Right? That was my experience as a child. So yes, I've never heard battery in like any context like this. So I was lost. But from like how it's used here, I sort of understood it. I thought there was more to it than just like, oh, it's the bond between the catcher and the pitcher. But whatever. Yeah.
You're just
like they would play on it.
Yeah, they're changing batteries.
I don't know.
This man again. Okay, I don't know why they titled the movie that, but okay.
Well, he says, you and me, man, the battery. And I was like, oh, that's the sports thing. Okay, so it's more than just the batteries he's constantly putting into it, this man.
Yeah.
Okay,
that's just a little bonus battery action.
We always bring it all up in your environment.
All right, so a quick non-spoilers here. What do you boys think about The Battery?
Go ahead, Lee.
I was going to say, Ian, first, so I don't embarrass myself by hating the movie that you love. No,
embarrass yourself.
I always embarrass myself. You can't even stop me.
I mean, the reality is I'm never going to forgive you guys for being so hard on Tooth and Nail. So, I mean, you can't sink any lower in my book.
I'm sorry. I forget.
Let me shift gears and be harder on this one.
to you, this was the worst day of your life, but to us, that was Tuesday.
But for me, it was Tuesday.
I forget all about Tooth and Nail now. I did not hate this movie. I liked it. I like it's like super indie, and once you accept that, I think it's okay. There's a lot of things that I liked about it, but I felt like it kind of fumbled its ending. I thought it didn't really stick the landing, which left me with this impression of like, I don't know, like it's probably worth seeing. It's cool, and it's really nice for how tiny the movie is, what they were able to do and everything. And there's good performances and cool ideas, but ultimately I was kind of disappointed.
So like this one for me, I was shockingly impressed by a lot of things that happened in this film. I didn't think I would like it as much as I did, and I couldn't put a finger on the things that I liked. Like I wasn't sure. I'm liking this part, but like on paper, I don't think I should, me personally, based on my track record of things, should not have liked certain parts of this film that I did really enjoy. And I found, it's a bit slow and drawn out for my normal taste, and like it's certainly a low budget movie, but I had questions on what the budget was and did no research at all, as I generally do as a host here, to look into something. The budget. The only question that really arose for me in what this budget of the movie was the soundtrack seemed like very good, and I was well, where the hell did that? Unless you just maybe they just know the bands that did these things, but there's one particular song where the guy is like singing along, and I was like, I think I just heard that on YouTube recently, like out of the blue. I'm like, I think that's a real ass song. So it had me really questioning, and I meant to actually go check my watch history on YouTube to see if it indeed was the same song or just has similar components. But like that type of thing,
familiar, like folky, bluesy, bluegrassy lilt to it that feels kind of like an old standard to me.
But the quality felt there.
With like a modern, with like a modern energy, because you hear that bands are like, oh, you're like Johnny Cash, but like you can tell there's certain like not like synth work, but like production on it.
There's the production was strong, and while the soundtrack had that production, like you can definitely tell there's some comings and goings of where the quality of the actual audio of the film are developed in certain characters where I'm like, I don't think that person's mic'd, or they're just catching off of that person or whatever. So like I had these questions about it, but I did really enjoy it. I agree with Lee completely, where I think they fumbled the ending, but I will talk about in spoilers why I think that was and what I think led to that. But overall, I think for what this may have been, which could be a dramatically low budget film, pretty impressive.
I think this is very low budget. Sometimes you just see the number of people on the credits is very small. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like sometimes you see, low budget, heavy asterisks, and it's still like 400 people in the credits, and it's like and we're talking more like asylum type stuff. There's still like there's a budget. This is pretty guerrilla, I imagine.
Yeah, if you said this was $2,000 or $20,000, I'd be like, yep, like that makes sense.
I didn't want to.
If it was more than
I didn't want to steal anybody's whatever, but I did look it up and I just double checked. It is $6,000 reported.
Okay, so it's in that pocket I'm talking about, and exactly. I would not even be surprised if a large chunk of that went to music if they don't have the hookup, because we know how much licensing songs can be.
I'm guessing food. Yeah.
Location rentals, camera equipment, etc. Because there's not the abundance of actors here.
There's a lot of the movie where it's just the two people, and I wasn't sure if that was going to be the whole time. And then later there are a few more people, but like it's really just those two guys.
Just about anybody else who's on.
I had a theory that the bearded guy might be the director of the film, but I didn't look into that either.
He is.
That's true.
Is he? Okay.
He's the writer-director of the film.
So almost every time, I'll bring this up in spoilers. Ian, give your non-spoilers thoughts on this film.
Yeah, I enjoyed this one quite a bit. Even hearing that it's only a $6,000 budget makes me like it even more. Because, I felt the very indie vibe to this one. I hear what you're saying, Stefan, about the audio. But I also think they very intelligently knew what they had the ability to do. Because there's certain ways they shot certain things. And it's funny because I watched this movie twice, actually. I watched it like a week ago on the television, and I didn't notice a lot of things. Today I had it on while I was working to kind of refresh a little bit. I had, good quality headphones on. And then I could start to hear, I'm like, oh, this is ADR. It's a little more obvious to me. But I thought they did a thing that a lot of really bad low-budget movies don't think to do, and they filmed it from angles that made it work better. Like there's just a shot where they've pulled up to a hotel because they're trying to find something. And the one guy gets out of the car and they're yelling. One guy's sitting in the passenger seat. The other guy's outside the car and they're yelling at each other. And just the angle of the camera from where it sits. The guy in the car is facing away from the camera. The guy looking in at you, like he's far enough away from it worked really well to ADR and not look too dumb.
Pay attention, watch out.
If you'll just stop fucking distracting me while I'm trying to do this.
Just do it and get back in the car.
Like too many of the bad movies that we cover on Bad Movie Night.
Yeah, where you can see lips visibly, and I'm like, well, you can't just do that.
Most films have visible lips.
Agreed.
This movie went in another direction.
No, I agree. I feel like it was smart and like well done, and you
Yeah.
could tell that it was low budget, but that they were doing a lot with it and everything. So yes,
I
I'm
liked
also
the
impressed.
ending. I liked the ending enough. It's hard to escalate movies like this when you don't have a budget. And I thought it pretty successfully escalated the tension and the scope in a way that was pretty appropriate to the budget. I think I would have done it a little differently, but that's not to take away from what they did pull off, in my opinion.
Sure. Two of us seem to like it more than the third.
We recommend this movie. It sounds
Indeed.
like. That's dope.
I'd say definitely check this one out. So if you've seen it or don't care, false over to spoilers. And if not, pull out now.
If you need a place to rent content, you better listen. We're Cannibal Video and we eat the competition.
We've been burying the lead here. We haven't even been talking about the most important thing.
Bring it up.
Where are you guys at when it comes to panty sniffing?
I've not really put my thought into it. I can say never.
Okay. Lately, you look like a panty.
Lee's more of a smeller than I am.
Yeah. So it's really weird. I'm really into smells and everything, but I've never been into panty sniffing. I've never purchased anything out of a vending machine or anything like that. I'm not. That's not my fetish, which I am grateful for.
That's the thing you hear about, like the trope of like the vending machine with the U's and people
I'm
buying it on
jealous.
the internet, and like it's always in movies. God, I never understood this phenomenon. It makes no sense to me. So we should say, in case somebody's watching this who hasn't seen the movie, character.
It's got panties.
So zombie movie. Several months in, they go to an old girlfriend's house just to find out.
Yes.
Find out, and there's nobody there, and
of course.
he gets into the drawers in more way than one.
But at least these are clean, and he like sprays like cologne or whatever on them.
Oh, did
or not
I
cologne?
miss
What do you
that?
call it?
He has her perfume. He's like combined it and stuff. Yeah. No. But okay.
As far as a weirdo goes, this is at least the best case of weirdo.
No,
perfume as a reminder of somebody you cared about and a smell that you associate with that makes a ton of sense to me. But yeah, so the clean panties are almost weirder to me because like, what are you getting out of that? Like, doesn't it just smell like fabric?
There's a dryer sheet.
Even if it still does.
Yes.
Months later, it's not going to anymore.
And he has her perfume there. This is a really important scene to set up that he's kind of a creep and maybe a little horny or whatever for something later on, which I think was groundbreaking cinema, which changed my life. I love when a movie brings something new to the table, something that like you've seen 100 zombie movies, but you've never seen this. I've never seen anybody cranking it to a zombie cutie before. And this was life-altering. For that alone, this movie deserves a position in like the list of movies, right?
Yeah.
And that was my joke description, was like the apocalypse would be horny, right? And The Walking Dead never addresses this, right? You have
there are rapey characters.
Yes, but not the same. Yes, like the most you get is like Eugene watching Abraham and like what's her name, boinking.
Carlita?
And I forgot her name. I'm sorry to be so sexist about it. Whatever your name is, honey, I'm sorry. Whatever. I saw your back. The point is, it'll like delve into creepy stuff, but it's never sexual. It's always like the governor's daughter and stuff. I'm trying to tread lightly on like Walking Dead for people that haven't seen the 10-year-old show or whatever. But this was so direct and like you said, the like intelligence to shoot it from that angle, to have like the one seat up and the one seat down, so you see just the right stuff, and then her by the window and stuff. Her like tits are like up against the window, and she's like moaning and drooling and stuff. And I was like, this is amazing. This is incredible. I would do that scene. Well, I would do the makeup for that zombie character just a little bit different. Had it been one of the things more decay, less sexy, more gross. But I want to come back around to this, because this movie, what I love about this movie is like what it drives creative juices for me. Because you see this, you're like, man, I could have made this movie. And it just gets me thinking, this is what I would do, and that's what I would do in a positive way, not in a, man, this filmmaker fucked this up, and no, just like,
it's people like, doing the best with what they have.
Yeah, I would go in this direction with that, and like it's like seeing. I like watching, Marvel movies and Star Wars movies as much as the next person. Those don't get my creative juices flowing, just because like I'm never gonna make a Star Wars.
Yeah, movie, I don't have $200 million. I can't make this movie.
But I could make this movie, and an example of that is I want to make that zombie, that specific zombie, a little grosser. And I realize, the makeup in this movie for the zombies and the action with the zombies wasn't the best, but also
it's just gray paint and a little bit of cut. Like, it wasn't really there's more of a drama than a horror
To be fair, you know, they were.
Yeah, I think that's what it's listed as. Yeah,
It's not a gore fest.
It was about the relationship between these two men. It wasn't about, you know, being on the run from zombies. But for that one scene, it would have been really nice to like make her a little gross, just to make it that much creepier that he's into it. Like maybe she's got just like this big, you know, like eye dangling out, and like it's still kind of sexy. Right, because especially like you said, she's wearing a tank top, no bra.
Oh God!
She's kind of smacking those breasts against the glass of the car while he's sitting there.
You could have had her like turn her head to reveal like the bad side, and then he kind of looks away and winces, but keeps cranking, and then she turns away and he's back
just covering.
He's trying to like he's like fighting it more. Yeah. Let's make a whole indie film about a dude cranking.
But because it's obviously like a live woman who's just got a little bit of makeup on, the breasts still move like live breasts. Like I almost want them to like show
be leathery and tough.
You know, not necessarily in a visible way, but like in some way, like they're just too hard. Like,
girl, your tits got rigor mortis up in here.
It's just like, you know, it's like tapping the glass because it's hard. You know what I mean? Just like make it a little. Gross.
Is it cold out there?
Yeah, right. You know.
I thought what would have been gross is like there's a part where like they're trapped in the car, you know, the ending of this movie, which is, you know, what some of us have the problems with. They're saving up like their piss and like the juice from the cans and stuff. And I'm like, you can't save up piss. If you don't drink piss right away, it's not sterile anymore. It's this horrible thing that's going to get you so sick. And I guess at a certain point, it's like, do you care about, you know, whatever you may get? You're dying in a car anyway.
Situation, though. You know, you're making the best of bad sets of options.
So my issue with this is probably going to be different than Lee's issue with this. I don't mind that it tapers out, like how it just kind of like ends here, which is definitely on a downer point. It's the part that our boy jumps out of the car and like, you know, he's going to get the keys or not come back as he is instructed, but he does come back and he gets bit. So he goes out there. He doesn't even bring a weapon with him. He just jumps out there, goes look for keys, and I guess runs around in circles for a little while and comes to thing. They're still patting on the car the whole time. So the car still has a lot of their attention. What should have happened is our boy with the shot leg should have popped up out of the sunroof with like his leg be hitting the horn and be just like clubbing them, trying to keep their attention for as long as possible. So there's a possibility that our boy could actually go get something. And while they're distracted and they're trying to get this guy who's clubbing them or doing whatever he's doing up there, the other guy should have been just beating them to death. There's only like maybe at most 30 of them. They didn't have the budget for that, but they could have kept the camera on the interior showing his legs and what he's doing, and you just hear things. And like they did enough shots like this in the movie already that it wouldn't have felt that strange. And like they could have in the car talked over the plan. All right. So what are you going to do? I'm going to do this. You're going to do that. Okay. So I'm going to go out there. You're going to have a couple of seconds to get out there free while I do this. And then this is going to happen, and so on and so forth. And you could have tried to get that. And it just felt like they had to have an ending, and they didn't have the ability to film everything. So like, it was smart to cover the windows. And I almost would have said that could be a tactic in general, but I think it was just because they didn't have the budget to keep the extras on staff all the time. They could have two people, so you could just have hands here and there. But making yourself closed off
thing to do.
It's very logical.
Just so you're just not staring at them all the time.
Well, I think you could try for an out of sight, out of mind thing. They might stop.
Lose interest.
Exactly. If they don't see you, they might not be there.
They did kind of establish in the film, though, that they don't go away. They're not that dumb. You know, like once
he explains that.
Yeah,
right.
Once they fixate on something, they don't leave it alone. So
I would hope for the best, though, or do anything. It just seems like they laid down to die.
If we're gonna nitpick here and say, here's what we should actually do in real life, which I don't know, kind of ruins the fun of movies, but I think the reality
the plan.
is when the three of us get trapped in a car like this, and I'm going out the sunroof, my move, if I can successfully get out, my move is to get away, make them follow me.
Sure.
Give you guys the chance to either find the key or whatever, or just lose them and come back.
Yeah, I would never get back in the car.
Making my fucking leg, man.
Oh, they're everywhere.
If you guys were already in the car and I was outside when we noticed that thing, I would have stayed out. I'd be like, give me the bat, and I would have just been like, okay, we've established how slow they are. I'd be like, okay, I could lead, run, hit, run away. Run, hit, run away.
Assuming we're a battery and I care to come back. I'd come back better.
Well, no, he wants to take care of all the zombies before he comes back.
I'd leave and come back better prepared to handle the zombies.
Sure.
Or draw them away or whatever. So.
So my issue with the ending. I felt like they were trying, or like because now we all know that it was just this one guy's baby, right? I think he was trying to have his cake and eat it too. Like they want Mickey to die because that's this effective thing, and then he's alone at the end, right? We want him to go out like that and have the cool indie thing where you stay with Ben as he fidgets and lights cigarettes and bounces a ball and like freaks out and like stirs around all like weird in there. That's all good. I thought he was going to pull down the blanket and Mickey was just going to be one of the zombies there now, right? And he was going to just have this hopeless like whatever. But they couldn't resist having the scene where Mickey is bit but not turned yet, where he goes like, "What do I do, man? Oh my god!" and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So they have to
for his character, I think.
But they have to have him jump. But they have to have him jump back in the car to do that, which is weird. It felt weird. It felt like that was like resuming another ending of the movie where they're outside and they're running and they're doing stuff or something, right?
We've pretty well established that Mickey
was just weird.
He's
a bitch.
Prepared for the apocalypse, yeah.
But like honestly, a lot of the things he did to him, it shouldn't have made them better friends. It should have made them complete enemies. So we established that they weren't that close before the apocalypse.
We never hung out in the same circles.
And then him doing his like, I have to get you to fight and throwing the zombie in there.
Mickey, wake up!
Turned them into like buddy comedy friends for a while, and I was like, I don't think that would do it. I think that would psychologically break somebody, and eventually they would snap and either kill themselves or kill you.
So I disagree with you because I think it gets to the thesis of this movie, and I think Anna, is that the name of the female character they talk to on the radio?
Annie, I think, yeah.
I think discussing Annie helps them to kind of tell each other and tell the audience what the thesis of this movie is. And it's basically the struggle between a character who's a realist and a character who's a romantic. And how those two different personality types bounce off of each other. But I think also they're both like deeply lonely. Despite having each other, they're deeply lonely. They both want something more. I don't think either of them can articulate what they want exactly. They could probably articulate what they think the other guy wants. But all they've got is each other. And it's not a match made in heaven, but,
I would have liked to see what led to them being alone together. I think that would be a fun movie if they were going to be, instead of making a sequel, if he had plans to make more of this, picking up where he waddles his way off. I'd like to see a prequel.
Yeah, I don't disagree that
I want to know what happened in that house. Yeah. I want to see them eat the dog. Like, I feel like if you film that could be such great tension and horrible things to see. It's
probably some kind of party they got dragged to after the ball game.
Go ahead.
We should talk more about. I want to stay on this thing with when he forces him to kill.
Okay.
Like I think that's his first zombie. Is that what they're explicitly saying?
There was a checklist in a notebook that had 50 ticks on one of them and I think 3 or 4 ticks on the other. So I assume those were kills, but it could be it could be anything.
Interesting.
Could be his panties. I don't know.
Well, but he's trying to get his friend, right? He sees his friend and he's like, there's this whole, like I agree. This is like part of the thesis if we want to unpack the whole thing, because he confiscates his headphones. That's his escape. That's his, I don't want to deal with these problems. I don't want to face life or the real world, right? And then this is his friend being like, I have to force you. I have to take away your security blanket, your way of, stepping away from the real world. I have to force you into doing it and everything, right? And I thought that was going to come back into play where Mickey volunteers to get the keys because he's now this new person who realizes he has to face stuff, and then it gets him killed, and then Ben is destroyed and all these other things or whatever. But
headphones are just so dumb. I probably would have smashed his shit because I'm like, you are going to get yourself or me killed. But then the idea of throwing that zombie in there, you very easily could have killed Mickey. He was sleeping. You did give him a bat, but if you just snapped up from a nap, you might not even see the bat. Still, you don't know what the rules are. A scratch, a bite, a drool. I don't know. Yeah.
It is very dangerous, but I love the moment because you called it out briefly earlier. But you get Ben there. No. When Ben's dancing, singing along, right? He has the iconic look. He has the bottle. He has the gun. His headphones on. They can take our bones, going around there. But then he hears something. he tears off the headphones. He looks, right. And I think it kind of cuts from that to him the next day smoking like another cigarette, looking at this tied up zombie, being like, he's like deciding like, listen, I'm never going to be able to enjoy a nice getting drunk party with with this disc man unless I get a like teammate who can step up and take a turn, being present, being aware, and being having my back and everything. And that's
he
what
didn't hear them coming, despite him supposedly being the guy on point.
Yeah. And
in that moment,
how many batteries we see him go through during the course of this, and we don't see them find an abundance of batteries. So like I just couldn't allow my teammate, my partner, to be wasting batteries that are precious.
Let's drag this movie out with more hunts for batteries.
No, but I mean,
in the video game version, you have to find batteries.
No, but they do go from house to house, and they collect different goods. They empty a guy's garage, and they find all this bullshit things. You could be like, all right, 3 more, blah blah blah, or at least see them dividing things equally in some way. Because if you're just listening to headphones constantly, you're really not engaged in our survival. You are just wasting our materials. And in general, that's like I wouldn't even wear headphones like riding my bike home from work. So I'm like, I could get jumped or hit by a car. Like
I never understand people who exercise out in public like that with headphones.
It's just so dumb, especially in the apocalypse. Like zombies aren't your biggest fear. It's people. We see our dude get shot, and I thought that was so unjust. I would have loved Mickey to get shot.
That's not a lesson they've learned yet, though, until that point.
And how long has it been? Because we hear different things where they say like this many months we were there, or we did this for that many months, and it's this one. I was the timelines on things I really wanted to know. I wanted to know what year this took place in.
You get too hung up on details like that.
I love details.
It's a movie.
Of course it's a movie. But like you don't have to explicitly tell me things. But if you walked past a wall and there was a calendar that said 1993, I'd be like, oh cool, it's a 90s movie. Got it? Because this movie could take place at any time. And nothing we showed here could really limit anything because older cars, that's fine. I actually love the car choice they had because you need a crank and have a crank sunroof. I don't think I've ever seen a crank sunroof. No, neither did I. So I was like, that's really cool.
No, and I was gonna comment a little on the timeline too because like not only does he have a Discman, but they find CDs. So I feel like this writer director might be in his 30s. He might have written this or thought of started thinking about this when he was really young, when like a Discman was something that he might have owned and that's still in the script for some reason because you can't find MP3s, right? Like in some
you can't charge potentially, so you might be just by necessity having to go back to a tape player, a Discman, whatever, because your iPod you can't reliably charge this thing, and I like that. I think that's a fun detail in any way you take it, whether it's to set the time period or this.
It's got a nice flavor. Yeah.
One thing that upsets me, and I can't believe we didn't get to this quicker, is that Discman. So we start like the opening shot is of what's the character name?
Mickey?
Mickey, he's sitting there and you see him listening to his headphones and you got a cool song playing to help setting the tone, leading into your first, quasi-action scene. But then the CD starts skipping on him. Now, I ran a paper route when I was a kid, and I listened to my Discman while I was rolling up newspapers, and even out on my rollerblades, out doing the paper route. You gotta get a Discman with some good anti-skip technology. You can't be fucking around. Like, come on, it's the apocalypse. You can't tell me you haven't raided a Best Buy or whatever.
No. ESP drains the battery faster, and you fool.
Well, but that could also mean that it is taking place now, because if you went to any store now, you wouldn't see one. So this would be a Discman you found in someone's house.
I suppose.
Which is the timeless nature of this movie. Before I forget, I want to say why I believed the director to be the director who actually turned out to be a director is anytime I watch any low budget movie and there's a dude who's naked, he's a director. That's just always always how it goes, because you can't ask someone to do it for a budget this low. And they're just like, exactly, all right, this is my one chance to be seen by a couple hundred people. I'm going for it.
So like
full frontal male nudity made it an immediate recommend for me.
Makes 10 out of 10 for me. So I had the same thought, but like in like a different way, because for some reason I knew that this was a writer director star, but I didn't know who, and there's only 2 people, and I was like, oh, well, Mickey's the worst actor, so obviously he's the director writer guy. No offense to my man here, but up until the nudity, at the very least, I thought stuff he was doing was like not as good. So I'm like, okay, this is like the actor friend, and then we have the writer director friend who's like, I have to be in it too. It's the 2 of us. The Battery. We're making a movie now, and then you see you see that dude's cock, and I was like, oh wait, maybe it's that dude this whole time, and that begs the question for me: why is Mickey mediocre?
He was the character I liked better too. So yes, it is nice to be like, I was like, so I like him better as an actor. He is the writer and the director. I'm like, this guy is very talented. I enjoy what he puts on screen here.
a little bit in the movie, what had me go to IMDb trying to figure out some of this stuff was the fact I recognized the Ben. Is that his name?
Yeah.
It depends if you're talking about Ben or not.
The beard guy.
Yeah, beard guy, Ben. I'm like, man, that guy looks so familiar. I can't figure out what I know him from. And yeah, he was in Joe Bagos's Bliss.
Huh, I've not seen that one.
I don't know that.
Yeah, it was.
I definitely want to see him. Yeah, he has much more actor credits than like director or writer credits. Yeah, and like, he was writer director on a few other things that I would totally watch now.
I would definitely watch more of this guy's stuff.
Ian.
Yeah, Bliss was a Shudder exclusive that came out like I want to say a little over a year ago from Joe Bago, same guy that did VFW, but it came out like a month before on Shudder, and it's just pretty good. It's a weird movie.
He's the main character, or he's in it?
No. There's a lead female character. Did you guys see VFW by any chance?
I bought it, but I didn't watch it yet.
Oh, you got to see that. We're doing that next.
I think I bought it after you guys talked about it.
I like Bliss. I love VFW.
Great cast. I'm in.
Yeah, it's a lead actress, and he plays kind of a creeper that is a supporting character.
Okay,
and he's great in that too.
Supporting creeper, excellent.
Yeah, supporting creeper.
Yeah, I'm a fan.
We didn't fully get into everything I wanted to talk about with the panty sniffing scene. Now, can we circle back to that?
Elaborate, definitely.
Please, as much as you need.
Do we think that Mickey is a bit of a pedo?
Please elaborate as to why you believe this.
He gets into those drawers, right?
Okay.
The drawers, the chest of drawers, not the drawers in the drawers.
Not the draws.
Because we see like the caterpillar storybook in there.
Yes, he's got the what is it? The tiny little caterpillar.
My theory would be that wasn't something that they put in that drawer. I think they're just in a child's room, maybe one of these actors' kids' rooms, because they don't have a lot of locations to go through. But like they're in a lot of like camps and vacant things there, so maybe they like live in like the Poconos or like some sort of area where in the summer or winter these things are not used. There's a camp thing written on one of them, which is like camp something or other, and I was like, I don't think they put that there. That's not set dressing, and that's just there from the summer before.
Yeah, but he grabs the picture, and maybe it's hard to tell. But I was like, "That's an adult woman. That's fine." And women have pink panties. I guess it's okay. Yeah. But yes, I didn't clock at first that was the ex-girlfriend's house that they had gone to, because the dialogue about it of like well she's probably dead, bro, is like after that. Mm-hmm. So I thought he was truly a creep at that point until it was clarified for me.
Now they had talked about wanting to go to her house, and
I just didn't know that was it yet. Yeah.
But then they also, when they're arguing over Annie and him wanting to get in touch with this woman over the radio that he's not seen and we haven't seen, and they're kind of both, realizing they have very different mental pictures of who this woman is, that they've only heard her voice once or twice, and the asshole dude, Ben. Why don't I want to say is this Ben? Is that his character name?
Ben is Beardy Ben.
He says, I just, she's some trucker, capable woman, and you're just picturing some barely legal niece of Frank, and I'm like, you're not pushing back on the idea that this woman's potentially a bit young.
If they're gonna send a woman, that's who they're gonna send. A trucker, a bull dyke, not fucking Frank's barely legal niece.
Friend.
The most important part of barely legal is legal, my friend. So don't just know.
Oh, okay.
I would naturally assume that any survivor here would not be this model-esque character, and not to say that she is an unrealistic person to be alive in the apocalypse, but like that picture you have is like, it's probably somebody who would be like, she played rugby, like somebody that would survive the apocalypse is someone that would survive the apocalypse, or they're in a support structure that gives them the ability to survive these things.
A 42-year-old brick shit house with a peg leg, obviously. Yes. But I loved this because Mickey doesn't push back, and Ben's calling him out. He's like, you're picturing this post-apocalyptic pixie girl with a well-placed scar that doesn't ruin her hotness, blah 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 blah. Like, that's a great line, because Mickey's
more or less what it turned out to be.
He's
it was a shockingly,
I mean, realistically, I think it split the difference.
I would say she was more attractive than not for an apocalyptic person, especially.
I don't disagree with that. But she wasn't, wearing the sexy
actress
outfit
anyway,
with
generally
the perfect
attractive
scar like he's.
Yeah.
No, yes.
Okay. Whether or not she's your type, the point is that like Mickey acknowledges in his silence that he is again just being horny in the apocalypse. He's not just thinking about this awesome place with these allies and these people. He is on some level thinking like, maybe you should like me and we can hang out. He has these weird, romantic, like you said. We have a realist and a romantic.
It occurs to me that the actress that plays Annie, she could almost be your sister, Lee. They're very similar in appearance. Both.
I think you just think all gingers look alike.
Half true.
Which is racist or something.
You got me.
That's why I'm standing up for her. Exactly.
I do love, so like he's all sexed up and then the zombie comes across and he starts doing his thing. I love that Ben shoots it in the head and you get this like pop shot. Oh, it's over. Like type of thing. Yeah. And how quickly he notices what was going on.
Oh, and just laughs mercilessly, just clowns on it. It's just like, I'm sorry, dude. Finish up. I'll be right back. I'll let you alone. Just like walks away like it's so bro, like so good in that way.
I like it, but I do think that his laughter felt like that was the worst part of the acting of the Ben character in the movie.
I'm sorry, man. Oh shit. Hey, you finish
it didn't like, and laughter can be hard to like play off as realistic. It didn't strike me as real, and that was the only thing that pulled me out, I think. But I loved what set it up, and I know what it's going for, so I'm not nitpicking that part so too badly. Like none of the line, like the thing that gets me worse is when someone says a line where I'm like, that doesn't sound like you would ever say those words. Like, and the bonus of being the person that wrote the movie is you're generally going to give yourself things that you could say or would say because they are your voice.
Feel natural. Yeah.
Yes.
So that's what this is about?
Yeah, it is. You want to have a fucking sleepover in a big box with no wheels, and I want you to be distracted.
Like nothing's worse than when someone starts pronouncing words wrong because you're like, they're supposed to be a scientist, but it's Tara Reid and she doesn't know what that word is. Like those things always really irk me, and there wasn't any of that.
Yeah, that reminds me. This was a bit of a fun watch because Chris and I and Aaron and AJ, all of Bad Movie Night, of course, we made a short film that reminds me so much of this. It was the very first one we had all collaborated on. It's called I Was Embers, Now I Am Fire. And it is such the same dynamic. Chris and I play brothers. We're on the run from some unseen monster. It's more of like an alien. I don't know. We never really clarified what it was. But yeah, it was like just two brothers. Like one's kind of idealistic, one's kind of more realistic. And we're just arguing over whether it's worth even finding a place to settle down and grow shit versus fuck it, we're all going to die anyway. So I had a very similar vibe. And yeah, like we hadn't done much writing for film prior to that. So yeah, like it was written words. It wasn't spoken word. So like we just had to like fucking figure it out on the day. Like I was like, okay, we have this written dialogue, but we're very much like call and response, kind of waiting for our turn to say the line. And part of that's because we're not very good actors, if I'm being honest. But
you're selling this so hard, I can't.
Yeah. So no, we shot.
No, you tried to find something.
We shot certain scenes like just over and over and over again, and getting to a point where we're not saying the lines anymore. We're just trying to do what the scene was supposed to do and trying to do it natural. And
it's developing in real time and everything.
Part of that can be great, especially in low budget when it's like, okay, this is what has to happen in this scene. Just get it there in the most natural form possible.
But yeah, it was just three of us on set, so we had the luxury to do that. Obviously, if you've got
you're not keeping like a makeup artist waiting or someone.
Set. Yeah.
You can just do your
thing. It's a little unprofessional.
So
yeah.
I like you talking about these. Our timing is perfect. We start talking at exactly the same moment.
The beauty of online.
I will seize this though. I like your talking about their conversations though, Ian, because there's some awesome stuff. I'm just checking my punch list here. I love the part where he Mickey calls out Ben, being like, "Why do you always have to let's just go? Why do you always have to kill them all? What's going on?" He's like, "It's our duty. We have to fight back as like the human race and exterminate these things, right?"
I don't know why you feel like you have to kill every fucking one of them.
Because I do. Because We do. It's our duty.
Don't.
Clea, right? Taking very different attitudes towards their place in the apocalypse. One of them just trying not to get trampled underfoot and like get to safety and put his headphones on and push it all away. And the other one being like, aha, more zombies. Let's do the thing. Yay.
Well,
right.
And
jumping
like
right
any
in.
movie, anytime you let somebody go, inevitably that person kills your whole unit, and you can't let that happen. Kill every zombie you come across within reason. The wasting of bullets is what drove me nuts, where I was like, stop it. How many bullets do you have? Your holster's made of duct tape. Well, you can't have that many bullets. You weren't ready for
made
this.
Of duct tape? That's awesome.
It looked like it was a homemade holster. That would also make sense because I don't think he was a guy that had a gun. I think he found a gun and needed a way to carry it around. So I was like, okay, this makes sense. But the bullets thing, I would have loved to have seen him have like a little plastic baggie of bullets because he was willy-nilly just shooting everything when he was holding a bat. And we've established how slow they are. Club them down.
Going back to that dialogue, though, Lee, I think I can maybe help to clarify, Stefan, maybe what it was that you liked about this movie that you couldn't quite clarify, because there's so many bad movies, especially like I'm thinking of like the bad horror movies that are like made for teenagers to, have a jump scare every now and then.
Yeah.
And you end up getting this, and I remember, what was that movie called? It was the second Babysitter movie, which I really loved the first one. But the second,
I haven't seen either. No spoilers, please.
But it kind of no. It wasn't that. It was one of those fucking alligator movies we talked about. Was it alligator or crocodile?
Crocodile
I think it was
2,
Crocodile
Death Swamp.
2, where the teenagers just they're traveling and they're just arguing for no reason. It's just like you couldn't think of any other dialogue, so you just then have all the characters argue. Chris and I watched a movie.
I remember that.
Too, where they do that.
That was Crocodile 1.
Argue.
Was it? No. I think I may remember what you're talking about, where I even called it out too, of like, it's like bad improv where someone just restates what they said as a question and says, why do you always do this? Oh, I always do this. And it's just this dumb,
This happens in movies where like the writer knows there needs to be conflict, but doesn't clarify or develop what that is. Bunny Man, the Grindhouse edition, is a movie Chris and I cover where they do the same fucking thing. It's just 4 people trying to escape a slasher killer, and they're just arguing and arguing for no reason. But with this movie, what it really did well is they've kind of very clearly clarified the points of view of the characters, and when they bumped heads, it was so obvious why, and you felt that, and that's what made this a drama more than just some low budget.
Yeah, there were no jump scares, no attempts at that. It was a people movie.
Anyway.
Like this is like this is like if Clerks were a horror movie or like a zombie movie type of thing, but with much less characters.
Got some Clerks vibes because you have that like Dante Randall.
They go on rants and stuff. Yeah,
but Kevin Smith took the time in Clerks to very clearly clarify those characters' points of view in a way that some of these other movies I described just don't bother with. It's like you just kind of have tropes. You have the jock and the cheerleader and the nerdy guy and they're just all mad at each other because something conflict.
But for like a dialogue, like what I would describe as like a dialogue heavy movie, like it's an artsy-ish movie because there's not like those crazy dialogue lines where I'm like, oh, these are the things you would quote. This is what you would talk to your friends about. Oh, that part was so funny. Well, I don't have that. So that's, I think, one of the things where I'm like, I don't know, like there's one where it's like, fuck you, sir, fuck you forever, or something like that, or fuck you to death. Or
Fuck you, sir. Fuck you to death.
Whatever he says. And that was like the only line where I was like, that was funny. Like that sounds like something I would say with my friends. But like other than that, like it doesn't have those kind of things. So it's not that like punchy dialogue driven movie. There's not really any action to speak of. It's not horrific, but I enjoyed it. Like it has, I guess it teeters on a bunch of lines that just make it a competent made movie. I do think it is a little worse at the end than it is at the beginning, but fun.
No, yeah, I didn't think you were going to like it either.
It's kind of reminds me of like a Blue Ruin. Not as violent, not as actiony, but
if it had a little bit more money and a one or two, like, and maybe even just at the end, a series of kills right there, I think this could have changed. And that's kind of the kind of thing you would almost expect. Like if this movie sold, they'd be like, okay, and we're going to give you like, $5,000 more. We just want you to make this scene again and do that. Because it's just those two guys and random extras that play zombies. You could refilm that at any time and really just slop it in and it work. You could probably do that today. Like 8 years later, we're just going to film that real quick. It'll be at night. It'll be fine. Let's do it.
So real quick, I wrote down some lines that made me smile/laugh. I liked the sign says "Gone fishing, don't die." I liked "You stink. You're like a caveman. You like this? Ugh.
You're like a fucking caveman, and you stink, and you don't seem to care. You like living this hunter-gatherer lifestyle, but I don't.
His little rant, Mickey to Ben, and I of course I'm familiar with Tremors. Over.
Giant killer worm movie with Kevin Bacon.
I'm familiar with Tremors. Over.
on the walkie-talkie, that made me laugh. Yeah, the apocalypse, baby.
Did you buy them as baseball players?
Yeah.
Like
I don't know
thing
baseball, so
is like. So like the one guy, Mickey says to Ben, you're fat. How have you gained extra weight during the apocalypse?
You know, you're the only person I know that could walk all the way across New England and gain weight.
I'm the only person you know, Mickey. Period.
But then, you see Mickey shirtless shortly after, and he's not like this jacked Adonis. And you'd think that he would have been rather slender to be, at least a semi-professional baseball player. And then throughout the apocalypse, we're eating nothing but canned fish. I've eaten canned fish for a week, and I can tell you, you will not want it, and you will lose weight because it sucks. So that's one of my things is always to, okay, we don't have to Christian Bale it where you weigh 83 pounds or whatever. Yeah. But that one zombie dude that was gagged that he throws in at Mickey, I'm like, that guy was skinny as fuck. That guy played as a zombie. It worked.
Two things though. I'd say they did at one point indicate, back when we played up in Pittstown or Pittsfield, that sounds to me like we're talking third tier league baseball, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. These guys are not playing for the Boston.
Yeah, they're not famous. They're not
Red Sox.
pro.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't take them as pros, but
also,
you're usually hungrier if you're not a pro because you're hoping to get to pro or realize you've wasted X amount of years and don't have any skills enough to get a job.
Baseball is a sport that is notoriously one where you don't have to be super fit.
Mickey Mantle and stuff.
Well, those were years ago.
Some guys are, but even today, and especially catchers.
No, the Ben character was not my problem because again, a catcher can be it's about knowing the game, throwing the signs, but your pitcher I would expect to be a little bit more
I thought it was funny. It kind of acknowledges that Ben is a sloppy piece of crap type dude, and it also ties into the whole he's almost thriving in this environment. You're an effing caveman. You like this crap. And he's like, what? Just hanging out
well, he knows it. He has the idea where it's no, be on the move, keep doing things, don't get tied down to the stuff. I do think you could spend a night here and there in beds and homes and not, die instantly.
Exactly.
But obviously they've had a bad experience and that can sully how you do things. It then also happened in the car where they, instantly become happened upon and trapped. I understand these things are bad, but I also think that if you've been around for potentially half a year or more in the apocalypse, you survived this long, you'd think you would have gained a little bit of wherewithal on what to do in the apocalypse, be able to say zombie and kill one when needed. These things that it seemed like Ben really fucking carried him for I don't know how long or whatever group they were in before then, and he was just coddled and not had to do these things.
I think that speaks to his loneliness.
I like that
he's willing to put up with. The nonsense.
That's all you got. Yeah.
Despite how much it perhaps holds him back.
Yeah.
But also, where's he going? He doesn't have some grand agenda. It's
that's
why not
kind of true on both of them. It's this guy's fucking my life up. That guy's annoying. Whatever. You do need a group, and it's always funny to me when people don't
also,
want more people in their.
There's no end game for either of these guys either, though. They're not trying to get to Arizona for family. They're not trying to, solve the apocalypse. They're not,
Yeah, I like that he can't say the word zombie because that's more about he's not accepting this quote unquote real world and all that stuff. Definitely. And there's no end game. There's no, there's just surviving. He's kind of stuck with him. That's why he's investing in him, trying to train him to be more efficient in his own way, but he's tolerant of his hesitancy and everything.
The moment he is bit, though, that would be that scenario. I try to put myself in the positions of people at different parts in a movie and go, what would I do here? What would I do here? What would I do here? And if the only person in the world just got bit, that's a real fucking shit situation.
Mickey, are you bit? Oh, fuck! Mickey! Oh, Jesus!
And to try to order him out of the car is brutal.
You gotta get out of the car. I gotta get out of the fucking car! You can't make me get out!
To shoot him in the car is dangerous. Because what if it was a through and through and you shatter the front windshield now and now things can come in and get you? He's not in a position that he really has a lot of options. He's probably going to die. All honesty, he's been shot. He doesn't have proper medical, condition. He's not eating, doesn't have the right amount of water to live through.
Kids with a flesh wound.
A flesh wound is all it takes to die in the apocalypse.
Just like limping around. Absolutely. Yeah, no, Annie totally killed them. Definitely.
Oh, yeah, she was a bitch.
I feel like they should have had some anger directed at her in that car when they were talking about like.
Well, I do like his plan to kill her.
No, yeah, I was gonna say they do that actually, and he says, "See, look what happened. Well, because the keys are there. Why are the keys there?
Why are the keys gone?
You told me to get them tomorrow morning.
No. Why are they in the fucking field, Mickey? Why did I get shot?
So you're blaming this on me?
Huh? This is all because of your stupid blah 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 blah, right?
Yeah.
Dig it. Good times.
Another fun alternative would be like, kind of like a cut where it goes credits, cut to the video, credits, cuts back to the video, and it's him leading this mob directly into their fucking house.
Yeah.
Okay. Ooh, we can talk about this now too. Did you have any anxiety? Because on the walkie-talkies, they're talking about the orchard. When
they're at the apple place.
Yeah, when they're when they are at the orchard, but it's like la la la, like Sesame Street. He's like batting the apples and smashing them. I expected someone to roll up on them there and something to happen. Some
I think that
bad
was
stuff.
very intentional foreshadowing that they were clearly not far from them.
Exactly.
Well, they were never that far because those walkie-talkies are like children's walkie-talkies. Who's to say they even had a 10-mile, range?
Yeah. What do you think the range is on these things?
I don't know, 5, 10 miles maybe?
They work.
They do work.
The smashing apples thing gave me an anxiety just because I was like, you're in the apocalypse. You can't clean up easily. You're covering yourself in sticky juice. Bugs.
So sticky in the apocalypse.
Maybe the apocalypse wiped out the mosquitoes too.
Mosquitoes are one of my biggest fears in the apocalypse because if you can transmit the zombie virus to mosquitoes, that's the most horrifying thing possible.
Something I was going to say before I forget for like the third time, Ian, to your point about their relationship, when he gets on
to the panty sniffing. Okay, what are we?
Well, it's almost tied in. Because I wrote this down, but it's lost in the things. But this is important too. I like how Mickey on the walkie-talkie can start to say things about his understanding of Ben and their relationship that he cannot say to Ben.
I don't know how much longer I can do this.
Right? Yeah. And probably vice versa, right? This person he doesn't even know, immediately he's like dumping all this information about their history and how they're different and everything, right? Which is, this
it's a
toxic masculinity.
So
right? You're trying to ingratiate yourself.
If this movie had a message, it's get a therapist, right? Like
right?
Find somebody to talk to. Yeah. sometimes you need somebody who's a little separate from your life. You know.
Exactly.
Talk through things. So
I think
whether it's a walkie-talkie in the apocalypse or a therapist in 2021.
So we can get to the message now, right? I think it's trying to say something about like the only way out is through or something. Like when he says open the door and it's all bright, it's very indie and pretentious and it's in its way. That like ending crescendo and the slow-mo and his tight shot of his face, all these different elements.
I'll see you soon.
Because they're calling back to how they like got out of the house that time, which was to do the one thing they were most afraid of doing was to open one of the doors, right, and then go out the back, right. So interesting, but I don't know. Like, there's not enough there, I think, for me to like really dig into it hard enough. I don't know if you have other thoughts or other like opinions about what it's trying to say.
I think you're overthinking that.
How dare you?
I don't know.
I'm the one who's not nitpicking. You're supposed to be on my wavelength, Ian. What the fuck?
No. I don't know that there is that much of a message here. I think it was more of a character study as a movie. A character and a relationship study is more what I took away from this. And I want to circle back to what you guys had said about the ending earlier in that. I know, particularly Stefan, at one point you had said something about, I can't believe it ended on such this like down note. I'm like, no. I'd have gone further down. I'd have really sunk down deep.
Like killed himself?
Well, I'd go a full-on The Mist type ending.
Okay, so assistance would come just after this?
Yeah, he has to shoot Mickey, and then they roll up with a zombie cure, then.
No, let's not go that far. I'm not but no. Here's how I ended, and this is not at all in any way to say that I didn't like the ending. I just, getting these creative juices flowing again, like night before, like they don't even sober up the next morning. They're still drunk out of their asses, and they're coming up with ideas, and they both hit this low of despondency, and they're just like, we need to off ourselves, man. Like we can't just sit here and it's gonna be worse to
want to die like that. No way. I don't want to become one of those things.
But they're also out of bullets, right? They're out of bullets, so they can't just shoot themselves easily. And Mickey's, I can't do it, man. I can't. You do me, then you do you. right? So they're crying, they're drunk, and Ben slits his throat. He dies in his arms. Meanwhile, cut to Annie and like two goons outside. You know, they're seeing this, you know, zombie horde around the car and realizing, oh, they're still in there. Because these zombies are let's go fucking rescue these assholes and either take them in or send them on their way. And they open the door to find Ben covered in blood. Just, you know, tears have streamed in and they just, the look of shock on their face. Literally, they came to their rescue just a minute, you know, couple minutes too late, and they think he's a zombie and blow his brains out because he just wails at them. You know what I mean? I go that dark with it.
I would have liked so the slightly more budget version of this movie would be in the very beginning, Mickey would jump on top of the car instead of getting back in the car with the bat. He would just be clubbing them as they got closer to him. Then, like, you know, he'd run off, try to get the keys. Our boy would be honking the horn, distracting, doing whatever he can. And just as he finds the keys, a zombie's right behind him. And then you have Ben with his bow and arrow, and we finally get a payoff to him having that.
I'm gonna fucking shoot you.
And he shoots it in the head. Or if you want a funny, cheeky ending, they're in the car. Everything is played out the exact same way. They're going to die before Mickey goes out looking for the keys. Some scantily clad zombie comes across to the screen, and they're both like, and then it ends just like seeing their shoulders moving or something.
Yeah.
Paying off that scene instead of the other scene.
Maybe
Sure.
Some strangers to reference a different Kevin Smith.
Just a couple of bros helping each other out. I don't see what the problem is.
And that's when the group, what the hell's going on here?
Like, what?
I don't hate that
And
either.
it goes dun 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 dun. Yeah, it felt like, so like in that field you have Jerry's corpse and he had that knife and you have the keys maybe, right? And you have Mickey and you don't know if he even found the keys, right? And now he's a zombie or he's got to get shot. There's so many elements there that I thought they could have done more with. That they don't
had
really
he shot him and then saw he had the key the whole time. Oh my god! Like, because you still would have to kill him. That doesn't change anything. But at least then he could slowly drive at 2 miles an hour while this group of zombies follow him, and he goes right into the orchard, like runs through their defenses, like, you know, beeping the horn, prepared to die now to take them out.
Have him like leading the caravan kind of like he is, and then passing like a sign of like, sunny Ridge Farms 2 miles or something, and it's him going towards, and you just assume that it's like he's gonna
like the Orchard Hotel, and he goes, oh, he was right, it was a hotel.
Damn. No vacancy. Who says that? That was great too. That his little like
Who says that? No vacancy?
You got no vacancy. You understand?
People say it, man. The same.
No, I love this movie because it gives you the perspective, unlike The Walking Dead. This feels like a little.
It could be. It could totally have been an episode of The Walking Dead.
But it feels like a side story with like not the main characters. Walking Dead is always like the people in charge or the people in charge of like the other place and these rival like things. This is like other characters.
Of the universe.
The characters who would encounter these encampments or these situations and be totally unable to handle them and then meet this kind of fate. It was a nice little slice of like and
a side
stuff like that. Yeah.
Again, you could have been nice to see on the road, like for future movies, a like team that was on an away game when the apocalypse starts, because like teamwork is something that is fun, and sports people, like people being more athletic than your normal person, should have a better chance of survival. They're already armed with bats, like, they're not like other sports where they have padding and defensive stuff as much as others do, but just to have bats and the ability to, like, well, they all run laps every day, they're athletic, they do their thing, like cardio, especially in a slow zombie world, that is all you need, and you can survive pretty much anything as long as you don't sprain your ankle.
Doing too much cardio.
all the cardio. All right, I think we've said everything there is to say about The Battery.
Other than to say, if it walks like a duck and if it talks like a duck, then it's probably a fucking video store rental clerk.
Oh, I am a duck. Thank you.
Yes, I think we all give thumbs up to this film. It's enjoyable. Recommend it. Ian, what do you got going on? Give away your socials, your whatevers.
My Twitter handle's down there at the bottom of the screen
This crafty bitch
on Twitter. Check out Bad Movie Night on YouTube, on whatever podcatcher you listen to. We've had Stefan and Lee both on the channel multiple times before. In fact, we got to get you guys on some stuff again soon. We've had Stefan on recently. We got to get Lee back in though.
I'm ready.
One thing I want the ladies and gentlemen of the Cannibal universe to do for me, though, if you've made it this far, I need you to get down in the comments. For the gentlemen, let me know what your policy is on panty sniffing. Like, where are you at? Do you do it? Do you not do it?
And for the ladies?
And for the ladies, like, let's say you walk in on your partner, whether it's a longtime boyfriend, a partner for the evening, and you catch him doing this.
Former high school janitor, whatever you see.
Whatever. You walk in on this. Well, where are you at? Are you creeped out? Are you grossed out? Are you like, oh?
Are you flattered?
Okay.
Are you like, oh?
Yeah, like, I don't know.
Hey, dirty boy.
I'm open to hearing whatever the perspectives are on panty sniffing. Get after
Did you ever give us your perspective on panty sniffing, sir? Or did you just sidestep that?
I'm not into it.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah.
I thought you were gonna be like, I'm not on trial here. I'm not.
How dare you? I'm not required to divulge that. Yeah.
It's always so surprising because it is such a common thing I've seen in especially comedy.
Yeah, it's a trope.
Yeah.
So the skeevy guy. Oh,
yeah. I don't know. Never quite made a ton of sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Fuck off.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Let us know in the comments what you thought about it. Don't die in a fire, and we'll see you next time.
If you want to support the show, head over to cannibalvideo.com, pick up some merch.
And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button.
That's all right.
Yeah, that's something.
Whatever.
Fuck these motherfuckers.
Can't we just stay?
Cannibal Video has everything you need. A wide array of VHS and DVDs. We ate the competition, now it's only us. Our expert staff opinions you can really trust.